In the summer of 1813, as Baltimore braced for war, a small group of women and girls bent over wall bunting by lamplight. Among them was 13-year-old Grace Wisher, an African-American apprentice in the household of Mary Pickersgill, the widow and flag maker commissioned to sew a giant garrison flag for Fort McHenry. For too long, history forgot about her, but Grace's stitches helped create the very banner that became an icon of American freedom. In Baltimore in 1813, the city was alive with shipyards, commerce, and the looming threat of British attack. It was the largest free black community in the nation, yet freedom and oppression stood side by side. Grace's mother, Jenny Wisher, was a free black woman with few options for her child's future. In 1809, she indentured Grace to Mary Pickersgill. Grace was free-born, not enslaved, but bound by contract to 6 years of housework and sewing in exchange for food, shelter, and training. In Mary's modest brick home, Grace's days were long, cooking, washing, cleaning, and stitching. She lived alongside Caroline Pickersgill, Mary's daughter, close in age and even alongside an enslaved servant. Grace was legally free, yet her labor was not her own. Still, she was learning sewing skills that might one day sustain her. She could not know that those stitches would place her at the heart of an extraordinary project. That summer, Major George Armistead of Fort McHenry ordered a massive flag, quote, so large that the British will have no difficulty seeing it. The commission was daunting, 30 by 42 feet, 15 stars, 15 stripes. Mary assembled her team. Caroline, her nieces, her mother, and Grace Wisher. Together they cut and stitched by day and by candlelight late into the night. The flag was so vast that they had to move into a nearby brewery to spread it across the floor. There, Grace's young hands helped piece stars and stripes in the dusty glow of lanterns. After 7 weeks of labor, the flag was delivered. Mary received the payment and the credit. Grace, as an apprentice, received nothing. Only the lessons and sustenance her indenture promised. Yet her work was woven into the very fabric of this new nation. 1 year later, in September 1814, British ships bombarded Fort McHenry for 25 hours. Through the night, a smaller storm flag flew defiantly, and at dawn, as the smoke cleared, the enormous garrison flag, Grace's flag, rose above the fort. Francis Scott Key, watching from the harbour, was moved to write the poem that would become the Star Spangled Banner. The flag itself became a cherished relic, preserved today in the Smithsonian Institution. But as the nation embraced this emblem of freedom, few paused to ask who had stitched it. The ideal of liberty it represented was not extended to Grace Wisher, nor to the unnamed enslaved girl in the Pickersgill household, both of whom had laboured over its creation. When Grace's indenture ended in 1815, she disappeared from the record. Did she sew for a living, marry, raise children? We do not know. For generations her name went unspoken, her role erased. History remembered only Mary Pickersgill, not the young black girl at her side. Today, historians and museums are reclaiming Grace's story. She represents the countless black women and girls whose work shaped the nation but went unrecognized. Her stitches, anonymous then, are remembered now as essential threads in America's story. The Star Spangled Banner endures as a symbol of freedom, and within it endures Grace Wisher's legacy. Every star, every stripe she touched reminds us that the nation was built not only by celebrated figures, but by unseen hands. Grace's life remains a mystery, but her contribution is undeniable. She stitched herself into the very fabric of America.